Hello, 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 Holy One. Hello. Welcome to this space. Welcome to this space. This is our beautiful being, the new human space. So, welcome, Holy One. So, I'm going to do my best with this internet connection. I've sent out, I asked for assistance this morning because it's raining. It's raining and it's cloudy here, and I live in the country. So, sometimes that can cause a stall in my internet. If for any reason it isn't optimal, I will hold another space for us, for our Patreon family, next weekend or something like that to make up for it. But let's see how it unfolds, all right? But I just wanted to let you know in case you have to give me a moment, in case I start buffering or stalling or spinning or something like that, you'll know that we're working through this weather space today. So, getting a lot of beautiful rain, though, that our land needed. So, we're happy for that. So, thank you for being in this space with me, new humans. Yes, new humans. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. And a big part of the work we do with the ACASMA Quantum Energy is the understanding of the self as a new human, is the understanding of really implementing, right? Allowing, being the higher spaces of ourselves that we are moving into. So as we learn, as we expand our consciousness, as we gain deeper, clarity on who we are, what we are, why we are, where we are, all these spaces of us, as we do that, we begin to anchor those spaces. We begin to have those energy vibrations of the understandings of ourselves at every increment that we have them. So every new moment of aha, every space you ever have where you have a new, yes, connection point of view, yes, a new understanding of yourself or the world around you, every single one of those understandings is an energy vibration. And so as you have the thought or have the moment, you are giving that energy vibrational space of alignment the opportunity to anchor in. Does this make sense? Yes. And so as these spaces of us anchor in, our consciousness rises because these are higher spaces of us that we're bringing in by allowing, right? And as we do this, as we have the allowance of the understanding, the thought, the experience, the space, the new habit, the new mindset, the new program, the new belief, whatever it is, as we do that, then the consciousness of our form is growing into, yes, the higher spaces of us, if you will, for lack of a better word. So keep this in mind as you're navigating. We've talked about a lot of different ways of looking at this, and we've talked about new lenses. That was one way we talked about it, right? We talked about how when we put on the lenses or we look at life from the way we've always looked at life, we're going to see life the way we've always seen it. So if you want to see something different, you have to look at it from a different space. We've talked about that in depth. You have to have those opportunity for the new lens present. And we've also talked about something else recently that went really well on YouTube. I taught it in a goddess course, but many of you may have seen the video. And it was about the story of Eve. So that was something that I shared recently on YouTube, the story of Eve, and how there's this understanding, of shame and blame embedded in that story, right? And how we didn't maybe never really realize that story is a story of creation. That's for many who believe in that space of understanding. And so then you have this shame and blame vibe embedded in the start point. Are you with me? So if you have shame and blame embedded from day one, then as everything made by that space, if it's a creation point, everything made by that space, after that space, from that space, would then be in the vibration of shame and blame. And, I'm not going to go down this road completely in this class because I think most people understand this thought process that I have is that it's, it was set up that way, but it's also okay because it's also a way in which we're able to see what we're not. We're able to wake up and say, wait a minute, let's be more, right? Let's be more. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing in that manner. But what I want to do is I want to bring in this to this space today because stories, yes, that we tell about ourselves, stories that we tell about ourselves are so common. It's so common. People say, "How are you?" And most likely you reply with a part of your story, right? In some way, shape, form, in some way or another. How are you? And a lot of times the reply is connected into the storyline. What do I mean by that? If you're being a new human, you're leaving attachment to, yes, spaces of you prior to the now. Let's say that one back again. If you're being a new human, you're leaving spaces of you prior to your now. You're not reiterating them. I'm not. We're not repeating them. We're not regurgitating them. Another way we could look at it as well, right? We're allowing ourselves to be so present and so now based that we almost don't have a story. This happened to me when I made the book. I wrote the book, the AQE Foundations book. If you don't have it, go get it. Amazon or Etsy. Thank you. Thank you. So many high fives and thumbs up. I love it. Thank you. So when I wrote this book, I had a beautiful being from our family here, Julia, who was working with me on editing and looking it over with me. And she said to me, "We are going to want to know you better. Like, you're telling us all about Acasma Quantum Energy. You're telling us all about higher consciousness, but what about you? Tell us your story." And I had such a time with that. That was my own thing, you know, because I was so out of telling a story about me. I was so beyond boxing myself up to any specific space. Does this make sense to somebody? And so when I was asked to tell my story, I said, "Oh, okay, well, let me see how I can tell it in a way where I remain present, in a way where I am the vastness, speaking of a space." Yes, does this make sense? The vastness, speaking of a space of itself. So, you know, I thought, well, yeah, all right, I have a human form. Yes, I am in a human life, and I have a family, and I have experiences that I've had, you know. So I thought, well, let me just pick a couple pieces out to kind of weave it in here and give an idea of who I am. It'd be so hard, though, if any of us, no matter who we are, you know, most likely, I shouldn't say any of us, because maybe some don't relate to that. We have a lot of spaces of us, right? We have a lot of stories. We have a lot of experiences. And so when I wrote the book and I brought in what I brought in, I thought that would be most beneficial to understand maybe my viewpoint, my vantage point as I was walking into the remembrance of Acasma. So what you see there is most related to that. But it was really hard for me to tell a story about myself. Yet prior to that, you know, like probably 5 years earlier, I was telling a story all the time. And the story was telling me who I was. That's the biggest thing, is we don't realize that the stories start telling us more than we tell them. So why I'm laying this out this way is to just give the opportunity to anyone who is still identifying with their story, the opportunity to know that you're the one telling it. And if you don't want to tell that story anymore, then stop telling it, alter it, edit it, rewrite it, expand it, write the next version, write the next novel, write the next chapter, however this pans out for you, right? But loving our story is important as well. It's an empowerment, okay? It's an empowerment. That's another thing that can happen in the understanding of stories. History, yes, personal stories, collective stories. When we can come to them, yes, with love, we elevate them, no matter what the story is. So if the story is one that may be shame and blame or judgment or lack or anything that, you're done telling that story, you're ready for a new alignment of you, not only rewrite, not only create a new version, novel, whatever, but find in your being the ability to love that last story. When you love the last story, you enter into the new story from love, not from fear, running away from what you're done being, but from love, embracing what you're ready to be next. Does this make sense to someone? So allowing the space to be aware if you have a story, that's the first step. Most people here, though, at least me looking at all these names and faces that I see here in the live class, and some will watch this be a video, but the ones I'm seeing here now, I know you all. I've worked with you all. I've spoken with you all. We've connected on a deeper level. So I know you understand the concept of being aware if you're telling a story. And if the stories become bigger than you to the point where the story's running the show, I know you get that. You may have family members or friends who don't, and you may see what I'm talking about, where it becomes a pattern, a loop, a cycle, the never-ending story. There you go, right? The never-ending story, right? But the thing is we now understand, we have the ability to end, rewrite, edit, shift into a new story. So if anyone here or anyone who catches this video, if you are in a space where you realize you're telling a story that you no longer want to tell, that you're ready to move into the next space of you, it's the acknowledgement, the awareness of that. That is all you need to begin this. That's all you need, is just to have that awareness, have the acknowledgement, be present with the space and say, wow, I am telling this story over and over again, and I don't even know if it's mine anymore. I think I might have left this alignment. I don't think this feels like it fits me. I think I'm more than this story. And then you move into the space of allowing the more, allowing that trust of yourself, allowing that love for yourself, and allowing that love for that last story. That last story is the only way you got to be the new story. Yes, this book doesn't get written. These energy keys don't get given. The concept of the divine within doesn't get remembered. Yes, unless Andrea had her stories that walked her to the space where she could be this one she's being now. So that kind of love opens everything up. And the only other thing I add to the story topic, and we may move into another one topic-wise, but I love this thought as well, and that is how vast we are, how vast you are, that you can be limitless stories, and you can have so much fun. You can have so much fun with all the stories you choose to be. Limitless, no matter where you're at in what you see as your journey of human life, expansion, space of you, whether you are 20 or whether you are 80, it doesn't matter, somewhere in between. You have limitless stories, vastness of you. Embrace all of these spaces with that love and that trust, and enjoy. You're here to live it up. You really are. You're here to laugh. You're here to cry. You're here to dance. You're here to sing. You're here to write 1,000 novels titled You. So let's keep that in mind as we contemplate stories, yes, and stories of ourselves, stories of our collective, stories of all. Now let's see. Scan this chat really quick. Oh, beautiful. Yes. My stories are trippy. I love it, Sandra. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful feedback, beautiful shares. That's beautiful. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Gregory. I love that as well. We are the author. I love it. See, everyone here is an author. I love that. Beautiful. Oh, this is wonderful. Lots of love in the chat. All right, so let's see. We're going to go on two topics today. This other topic is really, really big, but I think we're asking ourselves to touch on it. And then we're going to probably just allow ourselves to expand and have more spaces of this as well. But I'd like to talk about, and you're going to giggle when I say this, and you know I love a good lead in, so you know I have to do this, all right? But we have about 25 minutes left in class, right? And I want to talk about who is God. Just that. Let's just talk about who is God, okay? So really it's there's all kinds of theological and philosophical and all these big words we could use academically, to discuss God, right? And we can talk from a science standpoint, we can talk from a religious standpoint, spiritual standpoint. We can have all these different cultural traditions and all of that. And they're important and they're beautiful and they are actual spaces of God. They are, in a sense, because consciousness is so vast and it has all of these ways in which it is experiencing itself, right? So it is coming through in religion and it is coming through in science and it is coming through in all of these areas, in those yes, vibrational availabilities. And so anyone here that has a religion, yes, or a cultural tradition that has a deep connection point for them for what God is, that is your space and you should honor it. So as I lead into this talk, please know I lay this at your feet as just additional understanding. Honor your space, honor your connective point of how you view and feel and connect with your understanding of God. I'm going to share from my point, okay? And I've had many points through my life. I'm still young, I'll have many more, I'm sure. But when I started my journey as a human, God was a male, God was a male being that had a human form, that was older and wise and fatherly and had a spiritual space of itself that could connect with humans and had come and connected with humans in various ways. And that was my understanding of God. And then my understanding of God started to shift and open up a bit. And I started really looking around and sensing more than anything, feeling this divinity within nature, this divinity within the earth, the wind, the waters, the animals. And I was like, wow, okay, so it feels like what God feels like to me, but it's a tree. It feels like what God feels like to me, but it's a mountain or a sunset. But the feeling, the sensation, the energy was the same that I felt when I was in a church building and I was praying or singing to that man that I was told was God. So I was having the sensation of connecting with the divine, but I was feeling it and sensing it in spaces that were outside of what I was told the divine was. And then I became a mother. I birthed a child. And I looked at the child and I understood the concept deeper of unconditional love and where you would give your life for another. And there was the divine again. There was the sensation again. That was the same kind of feeling I had when I was connecting in with God in church. So that just kept happening. That just kept growing. And the sensation I was having about what and who and all God is, it was growing. The energy was growing. The way I was processing it in my human body was changing. I've always had an outreach. When I was 16, I taught Bible study in my home. When I was 23, I had 40, 50, 60 people coming to my house every week to learn about God. I've baptized people in water. I've baptized them in the spirit. They've laid out on the ground in front of me, slain in the spirit, vibrating. I've seen these spaces. I've felt the presence of the divine expand, move through all form. And I found myself realizing, for me personally, the space that I understood as God was so beyond any human teaching. It was beyond any religious book or science book or cultural, there's so many spaces that humans have done their absolute best to articulate and connect and understand the divine. And so I began reading them all. I began reading everything I could get my hands on. And I was in my 20s. And I started finding all of these woven similarities throughout all these cultures and all these religions. Yet they would all see themselves as the one that was right. And they were so similar to one another, yet they would see the other as wrong. And so then that started really bringing up even more questions. And I did this in-depth study on baptism, and I did this in-depth study on communion, because I had a parent who, when I was growing up, my one parent was Lutheran and my other parent was Baptist. If anybody knows these religions, they're very different. They both believe in Jesus and all, but they believe very differently on baptism, and they believe very differently on communion and the accountability of a soul, the age that it is accountable. But that was such a blessing for me. That story I see with so much love, because it was such a blessing for me, because I meet with people from all over the world now. Every culture, all these traditions, all these different types of, everybody's coming in from a different space of understanding. And that time that I took to learn and to read other cultures, to read other understandings and teachings, and to allow myself to always remain in my understanding of myself as vast, as having a human experience. Yes, that allowed me to not get stuck in any one of those spaces, but instead embrace them all and allow myself to see the beauty within each one of them in whatever space it was there. And it was a really big step for me, coming from a very structured, fundamental Christian family that loves me so much, and I love them so much, and I have a big family. I'm one of 5 children. And my father's not here anymore in the physical. Some of you know that story as well. He works with me in my work, but he told me, and he was very strong in the Baptist faith. He told me that I should never take any man's word for anything. I should always go within. Oh, how wise he was, even then, being very much in what we would call a fundamental religious structure. He still said, no matter what pastor is saying, no matter what family member is saying, go within, because the answer's within you, Andrea. The answer is within you. And so that's what I did. And I journeyed within, and I allowed myself to always be open to listen to myself and trust myself and allow. And I think that's why I have worked, I guess is a good word we'll use right now, um, pretty diligently. And I've been very committed to not boxing ACASMA up and not saying that ACASMA is for this group of people if they believe this way, or this group of people if they believe that way, or I really understand that we are so vast. Yes, that we needed a connection point that was as vast as us, because all of the connection points we were tapping into through humanity, they were very they were beautiful, they are beautiful, but they were not allowing the vastness, they were not allowing the limitlessness, they were not allowing the love of all for all. So we got to this space of us where we had Acasma Quantum Energy coming in. I was originally trained in Reiki, so then I was doing my energy work and things were happening that were not, they didn't used to happen. And I was seeing things I didn't used to see, and it just kept opening up. And then beings of light were coming in physical sight and in, session spaces, moving my clients, touching the people that would come to my house and have these gathering spaces I would hold, working on their crown centers, moving their arms, whatever it was. And I think if I had not embraced the vastness, I couldn't have opened the door to that space of us being able to come into us, because it's us. It's us. I've said it before, I'll say it again in case anybody missed it. In Interstellar, they understand at one point that the future self is coming in to help them, the now selves. And when I saw that movie, that stood out to me so greatly, because I knew we were really living that, And I'm going to tell you my definition of God at this point in my life. And you do with it what you will. Maybe you find it interesting. Maybe you find it resonates. Maybe, whatever you feel, you feel. There's no judgment on what you feel. I believe that God is the vibration of love. I believe that the word God, yes, I believe that the word God creates a space where humans feel more separate, and it doesn't have to, but it has been given that type of connotation. So some people have begun using the word source or consciousness or prime consciousness because they've been trying to free themselves of feeling like they weren't good enough, or like they needed to make a sacrifice, or like they needed to pray to something outside of them to save them, because they knew that felt a bit off. But at the same time, they knew there's a divine, they knew there was something more, and they're trying to reconcile all of that. So the word God, but it doesn't have to be. For me, it is the vibration of love. It is pure consciousness. It is the creation point of everything. Yes. And therefore, it is also everything, because it is the creation point of all life. Then within all life is God. When I speak to you, many of you know this, I will say, hello, Holy One. Hello, beautiful one. because that's how I see you. I see the divine within you. I feel, I sense the divine within people. This is what I've been doing since I was young, you know, this space of sensing the divinity, and then that expanding how I was connecting in with everything I was connecting in with, because I was picking up on the divinity within all. Yes, it's going to alter the way in which you interpret and see and understand a space of creation or a space of the divine, when you're picking up on the vibration and you're reading that vibration within all life. So I offer you the concept of this for you to allow it to move through your form. And if you have a story, remember, it is also possible to look at it as it's an experiential space that the divine is having through you. Yes. And that experience is allowing the divine, you to know thyself, to expand thyself. And there are spaces that we have placed a lot of trust and faith and power in through the teachings and through the yes, the understandings we've held in human history about God. These spaces are real. They're not real, because I'm telling you what I'm telling you is not negating them, but they are increments of understanding of the divine. They are spaces of understanding of the divine. And when you can remember that you are a space, yes, of remembrance of the divine, the same as those other spaces. You may have a different incremental feel for who you are and for all that is, because you're moving through the expression of yourself. You're remembering. Yes, but as you remember, that will open up more and more. And it's allowance. That's why I also say that word a lot. Allow. Allow. Yane. So let's just take a breath here for just a minute. If your eyes are open, consider closing them for just a moment and just allow the energy. Like I was telling you early on, I could feel the divine. Let's feel the divine within ourselves and the divine within our collective, the divine Acasma collective here. Yes. Just allow your breath for a moment, nice and slow, nice and deep. Yes. You're letting your body drop. You're letting your body relax. And you're letting yourself feel you in your divinity, your wholeness, your eternalness, the you that when you leave this form will travel through the spaces of the cosmos, the quantum field, consciousness. That you is eternal, and that you is in your form. And your form is a precious space of expression of the divine. Allow your breath. Yane. There's a lot of expansion in the head and in the crown. Just allow yourself to intend to open your crown. Just say, I open my crown. Just let it open. Yes, that I may know the truth. Yes. Just allow your breath. Yane. I'm blessing the root lines, your root center, that you hold this knowing, that you allow the expansion of this knowing. Just allow your breath. You aligned and designed this space masterfully. You brought yourself here. Yes, because you are ready to understand yourself at this space of knowing. Just allow your breath, please. The waters of your body, you're recalibrating and resetting the structure of your water right now. You're resetting the structure of your water in your format, your vessel. Yes. 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 Just allow your breath, please. Some of you have religious trauma you've healed in this space. Just allow it to go, allow it to receive your love. It brought you deeper into this remembrance of the divine. Thank you. Thank it. Thank the space. Yes. Yes. Now allow yourself with your imagination, your inner knowing, to see your body. Look down with your eyes closed. Look down with your consciousness, your eyesight, that is your inner sight. Look down with your eyes closed, your insight open, and see your hands. See your hands. Imagine them glowing gold. Yes! That is the light of the divine flowing through your form. You have hands of light. You are here to be your light. See your feet glowing gold. Yes! You have feet of light. They anchor the light within the form, within the earth. This is the vessel of the, yes, the experiential space of the divine. Yes! Thank your vessel. Thank your vessel. Thank your form. Thank your biology, your physicality, your flesh. It houses your light. And allow your sight, your inner sight, to see with your eyes closed, your inner sight seeing the world around you, your room, your home, your space, the inside of your car, wherever you are right now. Allow yourself to travel outside of the space you're in and see the world, see the trees, see the mountains, see the sunsets, see the waters. See your planet. Yes! Sense the divine within your planet, within the inhabitants of your planet, your animals, the insects. Allow your breath. Yes! Allow yourself the understanding that that divinity expands to all living spaces. Galaxy upon galaxy, universe upon universe, the vastness of consciousness continually expanding into the next space of itself. And you divine, precious, sacred, holy one, are one of those experiential spaces of source. Allow your breath. We bless this space together. We bless this understanding together. We anchor it through our form into our planet. We allow it to be available and an opportunity to our collective, the Acasma collective and the human collective, our family collectives, our friend collectives. We be this light by how we think, by how we speak, by how we are. Yes! And we choose to be love. We allow our love to flow. We bless this space together. We seal this space together, every space of the divine, joining together in all of its experiential spaces of itself, uplifting, sealing, and blessing this space, this knowing, this activation, this remembrance with love. Yane kauto ai, ya pokoko no ai, ya natawa kukoa. Allow your breath. Yane. I am honored to walk with each and every one of you. I bow before you, Holy One. And just allow yourself, whatever you choose here, whether you stay in longer or whether you bring your focus back to your physical sight now, allow it to fit you, whatever feels right for you. We've recorded this space and I'll share it on Patreon and you'll be able to return to it if you feel to, if you'd like to. I would love your feedback. If you would email me, share your thoughts, your feelings, and maybe they come in over the next few days or week. It's never too late to share. I'm always here, and I'm always grateful to connect with you in whatever way you feel you want to connect. You could comment on the video on Patreon once it's posted, and you could share your thoughts there as well. That's a lovely way for the expansion of our collective. Whatever way feels right to you. You are loved, Holy One, beyond measure, beyond measure. Blessings, beautiful ones. I'm so grateful to walk with you all. Thank you. I receive your love. I receive your blessings. I am grateful. I am grateful. I love all this in the chat as well. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. Oh, how beautiful. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for loving my dad. Your dad must have known who you were. I love it. Thank you for that. This is beautiful. There's a lot of energy moving through the solar plexus right now. You might feel it in your stomach, and your body knows exactly what to do, but you are moving into a higher space of your consciousness, and the stomach will do that as it is shifting. It's like a second, third eye, if you will. And the bottom centers and the upper centers, they both have that third eye space. Yes. And so as you are doing this expansion of you, I am doing this expansion of me, the solar plexus will process as well. Thank you, Holy. Thank you so much. All right, beautiful ones. Blessings upon you now. Reach out if you feel to. And the reception held. Yes, it did, Sandra. Thank you. This is a miracle. It really is. We have witnessed a miracle. I say thank you to all who assisted. Yes, all the spaces of the divine. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you for that. Thank you, Holy Ones. All right. I love you all. Mwah.